check.
Hello guys, and welcome to my domain. So this is gonna be my first YouTube video I've ever made, at least for gaming, because I've seen so many people play games and post them on YouTube, and it just seems very fun, and it's kind of been a hobby I've been wanting to get into. So I've definitely been wanting to get into this and start recording and playing for you guys. So with that rant out of the way, I present to you Detective Butler Maiden Voyage Murder. Kind of a mouthful, but it does seem like a very cool game as far as I can tell. It is basically a narrative about a murder mystery game. I don't know much else about it. I didn't want to read it or look at the video too much because I didn't want to spoil whatever was going on. So yeah, instead of me just rambling on, let's get right into it, guys. Always good to have a disclaimer. On the dark and rainy streets of London, a crowd stands huddled together under umbrellas. In the middle of their circle lies a body. A stab wound to the chest makes it clear this person has been murdered. Like my dramatic voice. And with this, I've solved it. I'm guessing this is the detective. Yep. A man wearing a trench coat and fedora emerges from behind the group, and they all turn to face him in shock. Who was this man? Where had he come from? You solved it, sir. Please do tell us what you know. I'd say you can't have possibly done so. This here, it's what the bigwigs call an impossible crime. If those men from the yard can't wrap their heads around it, then surely a commoner such as yourself. I think I gave him the right voice. Hold it. I may be an amateur, but that won't stop me, because I get a real kick out of solving these impossible murders. As if the man's words hadn't fazed them in the slightest, the crowd does nothing to stop the man from touching the dead body. The man reaches inside the corpse's pockets, smirking once he realizes what's inside. He seems a little too happy to be touching that corpse, but okay. Yep, just as I thought. If he had these tools on him when he died, then I definitely know how it was done.
If I may politely ask, isn't there a problem? It's been raining constantly for the past 3 hours, but as you can see, there are no footprints in the ground here, save our own.
That's what makes this crime impossible. I find it hard to believe someone could stab this man and walk away without leaving a single footprint. You looked annoyed there. There was a second victim, wasn't there? Killed in an impossible manner as well. Found dead in his study, right?
How did you know that? We haven't told anyone.
Sorry for the Mickey Mouse voice. It's the only voice I could think of. Never mind that. Let me first explain the other victim. Then I'll get to this one. Right. Please, do go on. Think back to earlier today, when the master was found in his study. The door was locked and the servant had to open it using her key. Then, upon inspecting the room, you saw that all windows were locked, and his only key to the room was hidden inside his desk drawer. You know, if I had abilities like this, I would be trying to solve all the crimes in the world, especially like the ones that haven't been solved. That'd be pretty cool to piece together information that quickly. That's right. That's exactly what happened. It's impossible, I say. A true locked room murder. In the morning, while the master was out walking his dog, the culprit approached the door to the study. He then took out some tools and unscrewed the hinges of the door. That's how he got in without using a key. Then the culprit plopped some cyanide into the master's tea, which the poor fool carelessly left sitting out. That explains why the room smelled of bitter almonds. Yes, it may be true the room smelled of almonds, but I guess he's got nothing. You think I forgot about the sealed windows? The culprit took apart one of the frames, making sure the window itself remained locked. Then, from the outside, they reattached the frame as if it had never been touched, same as the door.
And so that's how the master was poisoned to death?
But you still haven't explained the most important part. Who is the one who carried out such a devilish deed? All of us gathered here have solid alibis. The culprit? You're surrounding him. The amateur sleuth points to the nearby corpse. I'd say it was a master's brother this whole time. If the master were to accidentally die, the inheritance would be his for the taking. But when he escaped out the window and climbed onto the roof, that's when his plan went horribly wrong. Reminds me of the investigation channel. More times than not, people are killing for inheritance or for money. Kinda sad. The master had seen all this coming and concealed a knife-throwing trap on his own rooftop. And so, our culprit became the victim of a second murder. And our victim becomes our second culprit. Ooh, what a twist. So, to stop his brother, he decides to set an elaborate trap, even though he could have done something about it earlier? I mean, if I knew someone was going to kill me, I would want to do something about it earlier, but oh well. Hold on, there's one flaw with that theory. What happened to the knife? It was made of ice, so by the time anyone found the body, it had melted without a trace. I guess you could say the brothers were murdered in cold blood. Sorry. The crowd was speechless. Everything had now been revealed to them by this unknown amateur. You can thank me later. I just can't pass up an interesting puzzle. But that's my style. If it's not interesting, I won't bother solving it. Ciao. The man fades into the darkness. The crowd is satisfied with his explanation of the two recent murders, and no longer need the aid of the detective, who happened to stay the night in their mansion beforehand. I mean, you know, second opinions are always great to have, and especially one from a professional, not just someone you met off the street. This nameless detective, who suddenly appeared out of nowhere, was more than capable enough. He had matched his wits against the real detective and had constructed a theory that suited the facts perfectly. The only question that lingered in that overconfident amateur's mind is whether or not his theory really was what the book's author had intended. Book's author? Well, who's the author? I like the background. I'm pretty sure that's a real photo. Just looks like it's edited. But hey, it works. The man, now sitting at a modern-day bus stop, flips to the next page in his book. Meh, my explanation is way better. With a disgusted look on his face, he closes the book and impatiently folds his arms. Welp, I'm bored. Should have brought some more books with me. I'll have to find something else to entertain me now. I don't know if I trust that guy. If he knows his way around people and is a good storyteller, who's to say he didn't commit the murder? Another boring day, at least so far. It's the middle of July and we're going on a cruise. That sounds fairly normal, but I'm not too excited about it. Never saw the point of one, really, but my father insisted I go with him, so here I am. I'm guessing this is a different person. A snobbish one at that. Sounds like an angsty, edgy teen, so I'll give him the voice. How much longer until we get there? Shouldn't we be at the dock soon? This car ride is making me sick. Hey, I was right. I'm guessing this is the father. Hey, Gilligan, you feeling okay? You look bored out of your mind. I'm fine, Dad. Are we there yet? Yeah, almost. You see the seagulls out there? That tells you we're getting closer. My father points to several seagulls flying around the nearby ocean. There's actually a story to these seagulls from a long time ago when my family used to live here in California. Back then, both my father and mother lived here, near the place these seagulls are flying around. My mother really loved animals, so she would go to see them whenever she could. Sounds just like my mother. The two of them often saw those birds hanging around near the beach or harbor. The seagulls must have left my father with a lasting impression. He told my mother how they reminded him of his favorite TV show as a kid, the one about some people shipwrecked on an island. Wait a minute. He's talking about Gilligan's Island, isn't he? Is that where the kid got his name from? Or the teen? If so, I have to applaud the developer for that one. And that's how I got my name, Gilligan. Hey, there you go. I've grown used to it by now, but being named after a fictional character sure was weird at first. I mean, there's weirder names out there, Gilligan, but okay. That said, Galvano is a pretty strange name too. Maybe it just runs in the family. At long last, we find a parking spot and the car goes silent. Since we're finally here, I'll stop my complaining. Well, thank the Lord. I unlock the door and step onto the pavement. The cool summer breeze greets me as I stretch my muscles outside. In front of me rests an enormous cruise ship. I haven't heard of it, but supposedly it's top notch. That's why my father booked a vacation here. Today marks the beginning of its maiden voyage, the first voyage a ship makes. Hey look, it's part of the title. So I'm left wondering how a cruise ship can be known as top notch without having made a single trip. I know his tie doesn't stand for get good, but I like to imagine that it does. This ship went by a different name a long time ago. Well, I can't remember it, but they refurnished the whole thing too. But it's almost like it's brand new. I get it. So it's a high-class ship that's been completely redone, and we'll be the ones who experience its first cruise. How did you find out about this? Oh, look at that action pose. Believe it or not, I'm friends with the captain. You know, company connections and all that. You know, everybody has them. I'm not that special. So he told me right away when he finally got enough money to start up the cruise again. I see. I guess being the CEO does have its perks. My father is the CEO of a rather large company. It's an insurance company, so to sum things up, my family is filthy rich. Wow. Well, I think I could have guessed that just by your attitude. But, you know. However, I don't actually do anything for the company itself. Well, good, you're a freeloader as well. At the moment, I only have a high school diploma, and I'm to begin coursework at a prestigious university. Afterward, I might be able to get something done, but for most of my life, I've been known as a slacker. I guess that's what happens when you're spoiled. Well, Sherlock, thank you for that answer. Ashamed that my high school GPA was under 4.0, my father pulled a few strings and got me accepted into his preferred university. Well, there's a lot wrong with that sentence, but we'll move on from that. Yeah, he totally cheated the system there. What a nice guy. Oh, I love this dry humor. He wants me to run the family business or whatever, to become just like him and take over the company someday. And to do that, he'd want me to get into the best school possible. I have no choice but to go along with his plans. I don't know what I want to do anyway. Maybe I should become a doctor or a lawyer. Settling on my father's dreams is as good as anything, I guess. It does feel a little depressing knowing I have no clue what I want to become though. But if it can't be helped, it can't be helped. I think a lot of people feel that way, even when you're in college studying for your major that you want to do. I mean, hey, a lot of people change majors all the time. No shame in that. My thoughts are interrupted by the footsteps of an unknown person. Mr. Golder. A tall man approaches us, wearing a jet black suit and sunglasses. That's me! Did Jack send you down here to pick us up as I asked? Correct, sir. And you are Gilligan? Yeah, I'm Gilligan. Understood. Follow me this way, please. The man leads us through the various security procedures. The customs people screen our luggage, as they do with everyone, and allow us onto the ship. Thank you for your cooperation. The cruise will begin shortly, but the ship will remain stationary for the time being. So please make sure everyone in your party is here before departure. Right. I'll make sure everyone's here. Take care. The man in black leaves, returning to monitor the outside of the ship. Oh. Hey, Galvano, you made it. You're almost late. An attractive young woman comes running towards us, waving her hand at my father. Am I supposed to know who she is? Well, Gilligan, I don't think you're supposed to know her, but I'm sure your father knows her quite well, if you know what I'm saying. Whoa, ha, ha, ha. Well, I'm here, aren't I? No reason to worry, my dear. If he's still married, I don't think his wife would appreciate him calling people dear. Oh, and are you Gilligan? She points her hand at me. Yeah, Gilligan Golder. Nice to meet you. Eliza Jones, nice to meet you too. Your father's told me a lot about you. Haha, I suppose he does like to brag. I can only wonder if what he says about me is good or not. Well, I'd say your father seems like a good man so far. Hopefully he's not the killer. That's right, you two haven't met before. I told you I invited all the company's executive board members here, didn't I? Eliza is the CCO. Chief Commercial Officer. And you, Gilligan? Huh? I'm not a company member. I've never even seen the inside of the building. It's a little dramatic, Gilligan. Whoa, someday you will. Someday. Eliza turns it around, waving at two more people I haven't seen before. Are these the other company members? You run too fast, Eliza. There's no real hurry, you know. Although, considering it's Galvano, it wouldn't have been too surprising for him to miss the ship. Wow. Poor Galvano, everybody picks on him. Hey, I might be getting a little slower in my old age, but I'm still Galvano. Underestimating me would be a careless mistake. That sounds like a cheesy one-liner the final boss gives you in any action game. Says the person who missed his flight to California. That's the reason we ended up so close to being late again. But we did get here in time, didn't we? And that's all that matters in the end. Oh, are you Gilligan? I was wondering when we'd get to meet you. Howard Lujan, Chief Operating Officer. Blith Calico, Chief Financial Officer. It's a pleasure to meet you, Gilligan. The two of them stretch out their hands, and I comply. Nice to meet you both. Sorry if I'm a bit more boring than my dad's stories lead you to believe. Oh, come on now. We've just met you, but I bet by the end of this cruise, we'll have lots of fun memories. I hope so too. Do you like games, Gilligan? Yeah, who doesn't? Of course. Then perhaps we should play a little icebreaker game to get to know each other better. Well, geez, the last guy who played with ice kinda got killed. Oh, jeez. I can tell you all about Gilligan. You see, when he was a little kid, he... Did he just hit him? Hey, there's no need to embarrass me. You know, maybe we can save this game for later. Gilligan probably wasn't expecting to be bombarded with questions. Yeah, that's... The ship suddenly shakes, and I jump back in response. We must be ready to take off. Eliza giggles, but I can't help that I get scared so easily. There's a reason I don't like engine noises. If I had to answer one of those icebreaker games, that reason would probably be the thing I'd tell people. However, it brings up some bad memories, so I try to avoid mentioning it whenever possible. I try to block out that part of my memory whenever possible too. Thinking about my past makes me sick. Okay, if they're laying on this part thick, you know they're going to tell us about it later. Alright guys, I think I'm going to end it here. I don't want it to be too long for you guys, So I think I'll leave it here and we'll continue in the next episode. Please let me know in the comments if you like things like this. If you want to see any other games, I have a few picked out for later, but I'm definitely open to suggestions, and I really would love to hear from you guys. Yeah, so I think that's gonna wrap up the video here. I'm really liking the story so far. It's very interesting, and definitely for like an indie story, this is really good. I mean, hey, there's no grammar issues yet, so that's already made it 10 times better than the rest of them. So I will definitely continue this story later on, guys. If you liked it, again, please comment about it, saying what you did like, and if there's something you didn't like, please tell me. And yeah, that will conclude this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see y'all in the next video. Bye, guys.